You are listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast.
Another Super Saiyan production.
What is going down? What is going down? It is your boy, Studio MacGyver, and you are listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing this fine Monday, if you're listening to this? I have had a very long weekend, guys. Right now, I'm highly medicated right now, feeling pretty good, but it was a long time coming. I needed this, and we're going to get into a lot of different things on this episode. Let me first start out by welcoming all the new listeners to the show. If you're new to the show, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. If you're into nerd culture, video games, anime, comic books, wrestling, all of those things under that umbrella, I think you've come to the right place. This is what we talk about here. Talk about a lot of video game shit here. So I hope you guys are ready for that. That is the bulk of what I talk about. And depending on what's going on in the anime world, brush up on some of that stuff too. But man, let's get into it. We got a nice little Tokyo Game Show thing, I guess, to get into. Really wasn't that impressive. I mean, it really wasn't that big. But we got some new trailers. We got some new information on, a few titles, and then I'm going to address some of those. One of those titles being Death Stranding. I mean, there's a lot of things been going on right now concerning this title, and it's actually changed, my perception of the game. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to also talk about some Final Fantasy VII remake shit. Yes, we got some gameplay there. So excited for that game, even more now than ever. Going to talk a little bit about that. We got another game that I want to just brush up on. Is one that just kind of caught me off guard. Was Grid Autosport. Yeah, came out of nowhere, came out of left field. If you're into racing games, any kind of racing game for the most part, this might whet your appetite. I feel this game has a little something for everybody, and there's so many positives to this game. And most importantly, it's a definite positive for Switch owners if you're thinking about getting this game, and I'll get into that. Let me just say that it was a long weekend, guys. I had a plan to watch, some anime and relax and chill. It didn't work out that way. I had to travel to Houston this weekend for a funeral, and it was just crazy. Everything was I didn't have time to do anything. I was always moving around, and it was just crazy. But all I'm gonna say is, women, if you're listening, at least from my experience that I had this past trip, and I've had a few of these, they make everything, no offense to you guys, but sometimes you guys just make everything extra hard, more complicated than it needs to be. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to dive into it because that could turn into a whole nother fucking podcast. But that's where I was at this weekend, guys. Houston for a funeral, and it was what it was. But I didn't get the chance to catch up on some anime that I was trying to watch. One of those being Cannon Busters. I'm hearing good things about that show, and I wanted to check it out, but I didn't get the opportunity. But I will try to definitely squeeze that in this week. Also, Daemon X Machina. It's here, and I'm going to get into what I've played so far. I really enjoy, what I've seen so far in my time with this game. And yeah, I'm going to brush up on that too. Two shakes of a lamb's tail, guys. First, though, a little news for you guys concerning, believe it or not, Game of Thrones. Yes, I said it, Game of Thrones. And I was a big fan of the show. I'm sure a lot of you guys were big fans of the show. Most people were some kind of fan of the show. But yeah, there's going to be another Game of Thrones, I guess. It's going to take place, believe it or not. I can't believe I'm saying this, but 300 years before the events of the original. And it's going to be very interesting because if you know anything about the history of this show and the lore, there were a lot of dragons back then. And apparently we're going to be getting a lot of dragons, this part of the series. So I'm going to be anxious to see how this plays out. If they have any of the writers from the previous show, I think we're in good hands. I know they're going to be handling this with kid gloves. So I know they want it, to succeed. And they're probably going to be putting a lot of effort into this show, and rightfully so. I don't expect it to, be better than, the original Game of Thrones, but who knows? I mean, Game of Thrones was so good, they set a pretty high bar, basically. So hopefully they can, come with some heat. I'm hoping, I have faith that they will. And, it's still a long ways off. It's just something that was out here in the news and I thought I'd share with you guys. So don't be looking for, this show in 2020. You're probably looking at a 2021 or maybe even 2022 with some of these shows. So yeah, just a little info for you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Now, guys, I want to talk a little bit about our game. Resident Evil, a Resident Evil game, a new Resident Evil game. And it goes by the name of Resident Evil Resistance. And it's a different take on what's been going on with Resident Evil in general. With the remake of Resident Evil 2, which was awesome. This game is more like it's an online game. I'm not even sure if you can play this offline. I guess I need to look into that. But anyway, for the most part, it's meant to be, a online title. And, it's basically, from what I've seen in the gameplay, it looks pretty interesting. You get a set of friends, 4 people, and you're in a room and you're trying to escape where this place is and get to safety. And in the process, you have, the antagonist watching everything, from the screen, playing with your emotions, basically having his sick fantasy being played out in this horror, based game. And you're just trying to get out of the facility. And in the process, you're running into zombies and all this other shit. And there's even a trump card, for the antagonist. And I'll just leave that for you guys to find out. If you're a Resident Evil fan, then you already know who this person is. But, I thought I'd leave a little mystery out there. I'm just going to say trench coat and a hat. You know what I mean? And I'll leave it at that. If you're a true fan, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're not and you're curious, check out the video or the trailer and you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, it looked pretty interesting. You're running around finding weapons and it looked to be on some type of timer. I guess the more things you do, maybe you get a kill, you get 20, 30 seconds added to the said time. Like I said, early phases, I saw what I saw and I'm still trying to make out some of it. But, from what I can see or what I have seen right now to this point, it looks pretty interesting. I don't know how much the game's going to be. I'm assuming it's going to be a $60 price. I hope it lasts, man. But when we come to online games, it's a fickle beast. You know what I mean? And you got to be real careful with, the ones you choose to play. Some do really well and the servers are going strong to this day. Others, fizzle out, within weeks, and, it's a ghost town out there, and, you're just left holding your dick in your hand. I mean, that's just what it is. And hopefully this doesn't meet that same fate. And then, we have such short attention spans now. It's hard to hold people's attention, man. It's got to be something, really, really good. And I'm sure there'll be cult followings, and that's always a good thing. That'll at least keep the servers, giving it so where it has a pulse. But, I'm anxious to see how this is going to play out, honestly. And the more information I receive on this, I'll definitely give you guys that information, because I want to see what this game is going to do. I definitely love the Resident Evil, series, and I want to see where this is trying to go. With that being said, I'm going to move on to the next subject. The next subject I want to talk about is a game called Genshin Impact. And the reason why I bring this game up is because, man, it's been the talk of the town in certain video game circles. And I say that because if anybody knows of this game, then you know that it technically looks almost like it's been ripped from Breath of the Wild and just doctored up into its own version of the game. And I mean mostly the art style when I say that. And, with the characters and with just the environment and everything, it's beautifully done. And a lot of people really got upset about this because this is a Sony game. People got upset. There was even a guy who, took his, I guess it was his, PS4, and basically just trashed it right there on the floor, on the ground. Out of frustration for this game. Then you had people trying to sign petitions. You had Nintendo fanboys trying to get people to sign these petitions, and people were actually signing these to get this game banned. And yeah, they don't want to see this game come out. That's not going to happen, but I guess I thought that was pretty cute, but that's about it. As a Nintendo fan myself, especially, a newfound Nintendo Switch fan, I can't get behind that type of behavior, for gamers. You know what I mean? I believe that no matter what system you're into, we're all gamers, man. I mean, it should be everyone under that same umbrella. And for the most part, it is. But when you have stuff like this that happens, it just doesn't make any sense. I still cannot understand, this guy trashing his PS4. I still can't understand people starting a fucking petition over a game that actually and honestly, in my opinion, looks awesome as fuck. And I want to play it. And I am going to play this one. I'm going to buy this game. If it's anything like Breath of the Wild, that's a compliment. You know what I mean? Yes, it looks like it's drawing heavily from that art style for the most part, and, certain elements, but it definitely by no means is the same game. If you watch the gameplay on this, you'll see that. And if you even listen to the developers, they would let you know that as well. It's more of an action, believe it or not, based game. And it doesn't, I can't say this for sure, but I don't think the one thing, that I couldn't stand on Breath of the Wild, the one thing is the way the weapons were handled. How everything had a life cycle, and most of them pretty short. They always break. They always fucking break. That was my pet peeve. And, just give me a game like that without that. That means a lot to me as a player. It meant a lot to me as a player. And that's what kept, Zelda being from, that perfect score, because of that right there for me. And I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same way, but this is a completely different game, guys. Just check out the gameplay. It looks a lot deeper as far as the combat is concerned. You have multiple characters to choose from and play as, and it just looks very interesting. And I definitely want to give this game a go. If you're curious about this game, the name of the game, once again, is Genshin Impact. Check that fucking thing out, guys. I'd like to know some of your thoughts on that, how you feel. And once you get a look at the previews, man, you might, feel some type of way. You might change your mind. If you've never seen it before, I would love to see your reactions or hear your reactions to this title. Let me know. Anyway, moving on, sirs and misses. Now I want to talk about the elephant in the room. Excuse me. The elephant in the room, yes. Okay. You know, a game that everybody has been talking about, has everybody still asking themselves so many questions. And yeah, man, this guy he's a legend in the video game world. And the game goes by the name of Death Stranding. Yes, we got more gameplay on Death Stranding. And I must fucking say, guys, I must say it. My mind was changed. My mind was changed on this game. Up until this point, I've talked about it before on the podcast. Lots of people are talking about it on the internet where, I didn't know how to feel about this game. And it wasn't really a good feeling. It was really a nervous feeling. It was really a paranoid feeling. I don't know why. I guess because I was just so hoping that this game didn't become just a super personal project of Kojima's, just something, that he just ate some bad pizza, went to bed, had a nightmare, and decided, to try to make a game of it, And I have too much respect for Kojima to, believe that wholeheartedly. You know what I mean? So when I saw the new game footage, guys, I really felt relieved. That's the best word I could come up with when I saw, the new gameplay. Because up until that point, like I said before, where I was heading is, all he was doing, all they were showing at least was, the main character, the protagonist, just walking around the earth, just running around, walking around the earth, carrying all kinds of different packages with a baby, in front in some kind of pack or pod connected to him. And he's just walking the earth. And, it was a little more than that to it than that. But that, for the most part, was, as far as combat exactly was concerned, that's all we pretty much saw. I mean, I saw him swinging some of these packages at enemies, and that's pretty much it. But we got some interesting gameplay now at Tokyo Game Show. And, I'm kind of, need to put my foot in my mouth, I guess, because I was worried that it wouldn't have a balance to it, but knowing Kojima, I should have known better. And of course, when games are being worked on and things of that nature, you're not going to give away, a lot of the cool things and the best things. When I played Astral Chain, I thought I'd seen the majority of, what was to come by watching other people review the game and talk about the game. But when I experienced it myself, I realized that, there was so many great moments and memories to be had in this game. And there's no way that, a journalist could have introduced me to those. I was going to do that. It was just going to be between me and the actual game. You know what I mean? And that was what the beauty of that was. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to play this game now. There's weapons, there's different kind of weapons. One weapon, I think I remember it being called the boa or bola gun. I think bola gun is how it's pronounced. And it's kind of like a tripwire gun, if that makes any sense. But I was afraid that there weren't going to be any kind of weapons in the game. I thought that, he was just going to be having to, just stay stealthy the whole game and not be seen and wouldn't be able to really fight back. I was thinking a lot of these things. And with all this technology that this guy was using, in the previews and everything, I was wondering, like, they can't have all this technology and not have anything to defend themselves with or go on the offensive if need be. And rightfully so. I mean, if you put two and two together and you actually use your logic, especially when it comes to games like this, then you might come to a similar conclusion. And luckily I was right in that assumption and everything came to fruition. And it looks to be an awesome game. He's slowly, unveiling, more and more stuff for us to see. And now I'm interested in playing this game. because there are human enemies that you have to deal with, and you have to deal with them in a number of different ways you can. And giving us the freedom to do that is basically why I'm talking about this game. And we should get more. I mean, we should actually get more as we get closer and closer to that November release date, which is crazy. That's right around the fucking corner. So now I was like, well, I was going to choose that or Star Wars, but now I feel like I have to get this game. I have to play this game and experience this game, because it also looks like an experience. A lot of times we get games and it's a game, and that's cool, and that's all love. But there's certain games that transcend that definition, in my opinion. And this looks to be one of those games. Also, another example of a game that I could mention would be the whole, Team Eco, guys, that whole team. I mean, from the game Eco, from Shadows of the Colossus, and we can even go to The Last Guardian, especially The Last Guardian. Those are games that aren't just video games. They feel like an experience. They feel like, you've been through something. It's different. It's almost like, art being animated, if you will. It's so many things, and they're all in all good ways, in all good memories, or whatever you want to, categorize it. But all love, if you will. They're very dope experiences. And I think this is going to be one of those things. It looks to be, very interesting as far as, how it's been written. Supposedly there's so many different characters. We've been introduced to a few of them already in that universe. And, I'm a big sucker for lore and video games, and, going deep into it. And I found all of that here, every last piece. So I'm looking forward to experiencing this now. And now I want to know more. And I hope he reveals more. And, I'm sure he's going to tell us what he can and save the best for experiencing this stuff. But now I'm interested, guys. It completely changed the way I thought about this game. And there's a lot of other little small details that he put in this title, man. There's the segment where, Redis, which is the protagonist of the game, he's just sitting at his home base or whatever. And just the animations that they were able to catch and put in this game is amazing. And we probably don't even have them all or know them all. But one in particular was one where you can actually move the camera around while he's sitting, I think he's sitting in a chair, or I think he's sitting in a bed, and he's just sitting down, minding his business or whatever. And if you zoom in to his feet, you go, move the camera to his feet, his feet and his toes will start to, wiggle, and he'll, tap the ground with his feet or whatever. And then funny thing is, if you zoom into where his crotch is at, his hands will cover his crotch. And if you repeat some of these things too many times, then it unlocks another animation, another reaction. So if you can continue to do that, he'll do something like he'll reach out for your face and he'll literally punch it. All kind of other ones, man. I urge you to definitely check out the new gameplay footage of that. Just to understand what I'm talking about. They've done an excellent job. The game looks beautiful. I'll say that for sure. The character animations, from just the environment, everything looks lush, and it looks beautiful, man. Can't wait to dive into that now that I know it's more to the story. And I figured it would be. These characters is really what I'm excited about, because, I want to meet all these characters and find out what they're about, because he says that they all have their own, their own side stories within the story, and it all intertwines in a nice way. So can't wait to find out how that happens, man. I really can't. So this game is going to be a purchase for me now. I've got to purchase it now. You know what I mean? So but there's even more, to this game. That's just, a piece of it. And I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this game. And I know a lot of people were on the fence and didn't know how to feel about this game. They were kind of like where I was at. And some people might have just written it off after, a while, because I almost had done that. But I cover games. So, it's kind of like my thing to check up on other things when I hear stuff on games that I thought that I'd like, and just in general. And when that happened, I was pleasantly surprised. And, you know, some people are probably like, yo, fuck it, I'm done. I don't need to see any more. This is what I think is going to be now. And they'll catch on later. They'll get back on the bandwagon later when they hear other people talking about it. And, you know, when the videos start coming out and they get to see what's really going on behind the hood, under the hood, then, you know, you can start to see some things start to change. And I think Kojima knew that. I think he did all this, you know, calculated. All this was fucking calculated. And he's, you know, wanting to just deliver that slow fucking burn, you know, to his fans. And I think he's doing a good job, man, now that I've seen his footage. I mean, it's, yeah, maybe that was for a reason. But like I said, guys, it comes out very soon. And definitely we'll be getting into that. I'll definitely be having gameplay on the channel and all of those things, man. So, yeah, be looking out for that in the future, man. Yeah, honestly. Okay, I'm going to just stop, you know, gushing over this game, and I'm just going to move on to something else, guys. I'm just going to move on to something else. What I want to talk about now is a racing game that kind of just took me completely by surprise. And apparently it's taken everybody, you know, the journalists and other gamers who've had an opportunity to look into this game. Apparently it's going on with them too, guys. You know, I actually like a good racer from time to time. I really do. I really, really enjoy, you know, the Midnight Club series, you know, with the bikes and, you know, just the racing period in general. And I got a kick out of that. And, you know, Gran Turismo back in the day. Gran Turismo was my shit back in the day. I thought it was way before its time. And out comes a game by the name of Grid Autosport. And I'm sorry, Grid Autosport, excuse me. And it changed the game. Apparently, first of all, the game is only $35. Okay, that's the first thing. And right now it's just download only right now, so that's part of it, I think. But I mean, I gotta say, I'm happy. I'm happy for that because this looks to be a great game. It's loaded to the brim with content. That's the thing that, you know, that caught me first. It's the content this game has. The company, you know, responsible for this game is Codemasters, and they've worked on a lot of different things. This game is actually coming out on the 19th, so it'll come out this week, guys. If you listen to this podcast, the end of this week, it looks to be astounding is the game. And it's coming out for all platforms. And, you know, when you hear all platforms, you always, if you're a Switch guy or girl, you always get a little nervous because what kind of port are you going to get? You're asking yourself this, you know, it's not going to be as good as the other consoles. And, you know, sometimes you want games that would go really well, you know, portable. Like that's the kind of decisions I find myself making, dealing with having a PlayStation 4 and a Nintendo Switch now, because sometimes games will come out for both systems. And 9 times out of 10, I'm like, you know, yeah, of course I'm gonna go PlayStation 4. But then I start to ask myself, okay, what kind of game is it though? You know what I mean? Is it a retro type of game? A game that, you know, if you go somewhere that all you need to do is grab your Switch and you can play it anywhere. That's part of the Switch's appeal. The only thing that I don't like is the fact that the game prices are, you know, after a few months, drastically different. You know, Sony's games will drop tremendously and then Nintendo's will just still be the same, especially if it's in, you know, physical form. That's just the way it is. Nintendo very rarely does price drops. So basically, you know, you just have to depend on the game. In this game here, you know, when I saw it, I needed to know about the Switch, you know, port and how it was. And there's companies out there who have done beautiful jobs, beautiful, absolutely stupendous jobs on, you know, bringing some of these games to the Nintendo Switch and making it look good and making it look viable and making, you know, Nintendo Switch owners, very proud that they actually have this game on the system. And apparently they've done it with this game as well, guys. The reviews that I've been looking at, and the main one that I looked at, it was on the Nintendo Switch because people were curious about that and they wanted to know, how it performed. They got so many different modes in this game for the Switch alone that, you can tell that they took their time and they basically handled this with kid gloves. They made sure everything was love. And I'm talking about, they even have a fucking Nintendo GameCube controller support. Okay, they have that. So if you want to play with the GameCube controller, you can. And they've actually added, functions specifically for that controller, which I thought was dope. So, just that alone right there had me like, wow, okay, they're not playing around here. And then you got 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second options on the Switch. So you can kind of optimize it how you want to optimize it. You got your high resolution texture pack that's coming out day one. It's basically, an HD kind of pack. You're going to get for free. It's just going to come with the game. So, Nintendo's done this too with some titles. There's a game that comes out or whatever. And, especially if they plan on having online or something, they'll drop that later. And that goes the same for, this game, because technically it's a single player game only. And, I'm a single player type of guy anyway. And they do have a online coming on, it's going to be a future download now. It's coming soon. I'll definitely keep you guys posted because I am going to be, buying this game. I'm interested. And this is a racer that, I could play. I could see myself playing, on the Switch all day long. And like I said before, guys, they put a lot of work into this port of the game. And I definitely think you should check it out if you have a Switch and if you like racing car games. They have different modes. They've got, I lost count of how many modes they have. They have a handful of different modes. It's not just one set racer. There's street racing here. There's professional, racing here. And there's all kinds of in between. So you get, your different cars, your different styles. You get all of that stuff here in this game for $35. And you get great graphics as well. And I'm just talking about the Switch model. The graphics are going to be dope for the other platforms. But yeah. So that should say something, about this game. Comes out on the 19th. Very curious to see, more about this game, some more gameplay. And I'm definitely be covering this game because this is one that I want to play. The only thing is, man, I absolutely have to get another micro SD card because the one I got now is just a 32 gig and that's almost done. So yeah, I've been buying up games and I'm going to continue to keep buying some for the Switch. Now I got a few of them on my hit list and this just became another one. So I talked last week about, River City Girls and a couple other titles. And, there's some oldies but goodies that I want to pick up as well. Like Hyper Light Drifter is another game that I've really always been intrigued by and I always wanted to get around to playing. And, that's probably going to be my next purchase, honestly, that's going to be one of my next ones. It's like $20 and it's also a special edition of it. So I waited so long to play it. I lucked up and got, all the goodies that, come with, what it came with a different version, I guess. In other words, you're getting more. I'm getting more weapons supposedly, and they're adding a few things here and there. So it can't hurt. So I'm happy about that, So yeah, that's the next game I think I'll be playing. But it's gonna be a minute because, fuck, guys, I'm just keeping it real. I've been playing so much Nintendo Switch, man, lately. I think my eyeballs are about to explode. I haven't played this much Nintendo Switch ever. And now I see why, people are doing this, man. I actually got my first friend code, got my first friend on this, thing. Cause I told you guys know me. The guys who listen to me, they know that, I don't really mess around with the online thing. You know what I mean, with Nintendo, because they still got some things to prove to me. And I still feel like, they're starting to now with the Super Nintendo stuff. But I feel that, we deserve a little bit more than what we're getting right now, and they're starting to come alive So I'm trying to, be patient, but, a game, Daemon X Machina, I've been playing. I'll get to that soon, but the game is so awesome and I have to play this online. I absolutely have to. And I'm going to get to this game in a minute, guys. But, yeah, I'm starting to have a little bit of faith in the online subscription. And, we'll see where it goes next. I'm still waiting, but I might still be playing online because this game here, Daemon X Machina, is going to make me want to do that. And I'll get to that game. I'm getting to that game very soon in Two Shakes of a Lamb's Tail. I just wanted to share that quick information with you guys and have a little conversation about this said game, this racing game. So looking forward to playing this, guys. If you're into racing games, and if you get the game, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, especially if you have it for the Nintendo Switch. Okay. Now let's talk about Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Any kind of RPG fan, I think will appreciate this version of the game. And we got some new news on this game that would make, I think, a lot of, old school, Final Fantasy VII fans very happy, because a lot of us don't like change, and especially when it comes to, some of your favorite games. Okay. What if you got the best of both worlds? What if you got the graphics of the graphics of the 2020 age we live in now. And, you still get that old school, turn-based gameplay from Final Fantasy VII. Guess what? It's coming true. You're going to be able to do that. You'll have that option. So apparently they're going to be adding a turn-based mode to the game. So if you want to play it in real time, you can play it in real time. If you want to play it turn-based, you can play it turn-based. Now that, my friends, is awesome. That is definitely a great thing. I'm going to play it, probably play it in real time. But hey, just to have that option to be able to do that, I'm sure that's going to make a lot of people very, very happy, man. And these are the things that I mean, that, companies should start doing, more of, take that initiative and go the extra mile for the consumer and really look at it from a gamer's perspective, a real gamer's perspective. And, ask yourself, what would you want in this game as a fan? Instead of sitting in your office at the very top, on the top floor, drowning yourself in fucking sake, smoking yourself, out of your chair, mountains of fucking endo stashed all around your office. You know what I mean? Instead of doing all these things to fucking ruin a company slowly and, alienate your fan base, instead of doing those type of things, hire people, get people who actually understand this industry and understand, the consumer. You got to like video games, man, in my opinion, to be in that kind of position if you want to succeed in the long run. And I think that, they're doing big things with this decision. They really are. It's a good look for the gamer. And they don't want to fuck this up. That shows that they don't want to fuck this up because you already have people, when it comes to Final Fantasy VII, the remake, already upset, rightfully so, about splitting up the story the way they're doing it. In other words, you're not going to get the whole experience off of one game. You're getting half of it. Okay. And so there's another part coming. So you're not going to get the whole story of the Final Fantasy you remember happening. You're going to get, a certain amount of it, and then it's going to stop. And then you're going to have to wait for the second part. Now, that's what a lot of people are nervous about. But the way that they're doing it right now, it kind of makes me feel okay because the game was already a big game. And now, they basically dissected it and made it like bigger because they made it more real and so many things to, traverse and touch and see. And they made it look like, which I believe them, which is the game is going to be so big that the first part is going to be an extensive, playthrough. It's going to be a huge game. And it was so much that they couldn't put it all in one, and they decided to do this. Now, hopefully that's the reason, that's the real reason, and it wasn't a money grab thing. It seems to be like they're handling it, with care, and they're trying to make sure that they don't fuck this up for anybody. Hence the new play mode, the turn-based mode they're adding. So they're trying to please everybody, appease everybody. And that's a good thing. I mean, if anything, it just shows that they're covering all their bases, that they don't want to leave no stone unturned, because, they don't want to look back and say, well, we should have, you know what I mean? And like I said, they seem to be taking a lot of feedback and really, really making it work. So kudos to those guys. And I can't wait to play this game. This is another one that is going to, that's going to definitely be a hot game. I don't know what's going to sell more. I don't know what's going to be the bigger game. Is it going to be Death Stranding? Is it going to be Final Fantasy VII Remake? Or is it going to be Cyberpunk 2077? Those three right there are going to be the defining factors. Even though me personally, if you ask me right now, if I had to guess, I'm pinning that as far as sales and how well these games do. I think Cyberpunk is going to be the one. Is going to break records. That's what I truly believe. But you still have The Last of Us 2, out floating around out there too. So, I mean, there's a lot of different directions those games could go. It's going to be one of those four, for sure. I'm just going to be anxious to see which one is going to come up on top. You know what I mean? I'm really curious about that. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and they're good thoughts. So you guys should take heed, and definitely, if you haven't seen the gameplay on this, check it out. It's everywhere, and you will not be disappointed. Last thing I want to talk about, guys, is something pretty dear to my fucking heart, and that is Daemon X Machina, or I always call it Daemon X Machina. However you want to pronounce it, potato, whatever makes you feel better. Just call it how you feel. This game, guys, I got it Friday. Okay. And let me start off by saying this. It seems like everybody has it out for GameStop. And, I remember talking about going up to Walmart and how Walmart has, Nintendo Switch games $10 cheaper if you buy it day one. That's what I thought. But on further review, I found that they're always $10 cheaper. They're always $10 cheaper. And, I thought something was funny because I went up to Walmart before and walked by the Switch games and said, well, those games are still $49 and some change. Maybe they just made a mistake or something. I don't know. Come to find out, it wasn't a mistake. That's what all Nintendo Switch games are going for at Walmart. I'm like, wow, really? So that just, anything I want, Nintendo Switch wise, game wise, I'm going to Walmart. And hopefully they have even the niche games, which they, you can probably get those online if you had to, if you really wanted that $10 discount that bad, if you know what I mean, as opposed to going to GameStop. But yeah, that could definitely hurt GameStop. It's probably already hurting GameStop because my last couple games that I've paid for have been from at Walmart, not GameStop. And because of that $10 price change, that, you know what I mean? That's crazy, but it's real. But Daemon X Machina, this game, I haven't had a lot of time, as much time as I would have liked to, play it over this weekend. Cause like I said, I was going out of town and I was driving and, I didn't get a lot of time to play it. I played the demo, absolutely loved the demo and, wanted the game, so I bought the game and, it saved your progress if you wanted to. And you could just move that stuff over and, to your current game once you bought the game. But I didn't want to do that. I scrapped the demo that I played because I kind of felt like I wanted a different character. And I'm obsessed with customization and stuff. And I just wasn't that happy with the character that I made on my demo, on the demo. So I said, fuck it, I'll scrap it and start from scratch. So I'm happy with what I have now. And I'll be posting some of these pics, pretty soon, guys. As soon as I figure out how to do that shit, because I'll be honest with you guys, I've never posted anything from my Nintendo Switch. I'm so used to Sony and doing things, on that platform. I don't know the first thing about doing anything with the Switch. So I'm looking into all that now. How can I put, clips on Instagram or, Twitter or whatever, and I'll figure it all out. But yeah, that's my next step. But anyway, guys, this game, this is going to definitely be a sleeper hit. It's going to be a cult classic, in my opinion, if you ask me. Fans of the Armored Core series, which there are a lot, and if you're just a fan of mechs in general, and you want a dope ass game, then you definitely want to pick this game up, guys. I had Astral Chain right now, my current game of the year. It's number one right now, and I have to say this. I know I'm reaching, I know I'm stretching it, but right now it's Daemon X Machina looks it's headed for that number one spot, in the words of Ludacris. And I'm not even close to being done with, this game. I still have so many things to do. I'm like bare bones minimum, like literally. And already I can tell that I'm just in love with this game. And once I start unlocking everything else, the customizable things and getting through the story and all of that, it's going to get even crazier. But I'm going to reserve that until I actually get to that point. I'm not going to jump the gun here, but I will say I am in love with this game. Everything from the art style to the music and just the sheer creativity that one could do with this game. You know what I mean? No two mechs are going to look the same. I'm really, really going to, I see myself just going head over heels for this game and really trying to get into a community with this game, like trying to get involved with communities and stuff, Reddit posts, Reddit things, you know what I'm saying? Certain YouTubers, because I'm sure some of them will be out there, even though they're, Marvelous Games, which is the company responsible for this, is actually, striking down gameplay of this game for whatever reason. I guess they don't want free promotion. I don't know. But I'm trying to get into these communities, man, and these Discord servers and stuff like that. And I'll definitely be trying to do more of that. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're a fan and you really like this game, Daemon X Machina, then you need to give me your friend code or something and get together, because I'm trying to form some teams out here. I'm being 110% real about this game. I'm that excited about this game, and I can't wait to dive in. Like I said, I've only been on a handful of missions, and I don't have anything right now in this game. It's one of those games where you basically eat what you catch. So if you're out here, fighting and doing your thing, and you kill somebody that's trying to kill you, you can loot his body for parts or whatever. I ran into one of these guys who actually had a flamethrower, and the other guy had like electricity of some sort. It's crazy. And I'm just looking at the potential that, of what I will be able to possess, one day soon on this game. It's going to be crazy. Like I said, the customization is stupid crazy. You have all kinds of different parts, and then even to go even deeper than that, then you have, attachments as well. And so there's so many different combinations and so many things you could spec into and do. I'm just ecstatic. And you can farm, and you can go out here and you can farm for parts and the free missions, which are missions you can partake in unlimited, as much as you want. You can continue to go get parts to sell, to get money. Cause some of these parts can be very expensive if you don't have the money. So if you need some money, you need to farm, just go do these missions. You'll get money for just the mission itself. And then you'll actually be able to, get certain parts. And then once you get those parts, you'll be able to salvage those parts, sell those parts, do those type of things. But the game is awesome as fuck. And somebody's phone is literally going off in the fucking background of this podcast. And I don't know whose phone that is, but I guess I'm going to have to try to edit it out best I can, guys. So at the end of this podcast, just bear with me. Whatever that noise is in the back, just bear with me. It won't be long. But yeah, if you guys haven't played Daemon X Machina, it's actually a free demo available. You guys could definitely check it out, man. Play it. There's a lot of different missions you can play on there. And then you can even, save that progress and, keep it when you move on to the actual real game. Check out the game. If you want to buy it, go to Walmart, man. You're going to get it $10 cheaper. And if you love anime art style, then this is for you, man. If you love mechs, this game is for you. If you loved Armored Core, the series, this game is for you. So definitely give this game a look. It's going to get looked over because Zelda's coming out next week. And, it's just one of those underwater sleeper hits, if you ask me. And, if you're not into these type of games, then you're probably going to miss it. It's probably going to go over your head. But I'm sure you'll see it on YouTube or you'll hear somebody recommend this game. And, some more videos and more information will start to surface as time goes by. But definitely, guys, check this game out. Next week, I'm definitely going to give my full review on this game. And, by then I've gotten to the end of it or mostly. And I'm going to let you guys know the whole thing, the ins and outs, what I've discovered. And if you don't have it, then should you buy it? Which I truly believe you should, because like I said, this is huge upside right now. It's from what I've played already. I love the game already. And then I still have so much to discover. It's just got huge upside. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. I want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast and coming in. If you're new to the show again, I will say welcome, and I'm glad that you came, and I hope that you come back. And if you want to get at me on, social media or whatnot, you can always catch me on Instagram at Studio MacGyver79. You can catch me on Twitter at Studio MacGyver. You can also check out the Facebook page at Studio MacGyver as well. Also, guys, if you're into merch, the nerd culture, the video game culture, all of those things, you can check out Beautiful Nerds. They sell all these things, guys, and they always update. Every month there's some new shit there. You can check it out. That's www.beautifulnerds.com. Nerds is spelled Nurdz. Check those guys out. Without further ado, guys, I'm getting up out of here now. I'm going to finish the newest episode of Demon Slayer, and then I might have some wings. And yeah, man, I'll catch you guys next week. I love you. Thank you for listening. This is Studio MacGyver, and you have been listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. See you next time.